Welcome in again, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the R&D Sports Report. My name is Dishmond, and I'm joined once again this week by Rylee himself. Rylee, how are we feeling this week? We feeling better?
Feeling way better, dude.
I learned from the last time not to ask you what's up.
Is it the sky, though?
So, well, at the moment it would be the ceiling first. But
there you go.
Anyways, glad to have you back.
Good to be back.
In case you're curious and you missed last week's episode, I did the episode by myself, so be sure to go check that back out. iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher,
definitely,
iHeartRadio, even wherever you can pretty much listen to it. It should be there. If not, let us know, and you can do that on Twitter at R&D Sports Report, or you can let Rylee know himself. And that would be at Rylee_RD Sports. You can tell him how much you missed him, or to go fly a kite.
Love you.
Whatever. So any way you want to do it, but obviously the biggest topic to talk about right now would be the NBA Finals, but we're going to kind of push that back to the back end, probably right at the tail end of the podcast, just because it can become cumbersome, right? It can become a lot to continually be talking about it. However, from the last week when I recorded, none of the games had started. I said myself then, and I know you listened to it, Rylee, that for some reason I had this feeling that it could go 7 games. Not necessarily that it would, but that it could. And I couldn't explain it. And your thoughts on it real quick. I mean, I don't know. My thoughts originally there, game 1, and not to get too much into it. At first I was like, maybe I'm right on this one. But then we know how game 1 ended. But your thoughts real quick on, is it possible for it to even go 7?
Yes. It's Braun. Come on, man. It's LeBron James. With him, you really never know. It could. It could not. I mean, with
his squad, though, that he has?
I'm telling you, man. It's like trying to roll a cube, right, with 6 dots, right? And you're hoping it lands on 4. Well,
most people call that a die if you're rolling 1, or a dice if you're rolling 2.
What a buzzkill you are. Either way, yes, they do. It's LeBron. You really never know. I mean, the past 2 games, he averaged 40 points. I mean, you really never know with LeBron. So those are my quick thoughts on it. I'm kind of interested in seeing how this series goes. We shall see.
All right, so right off the bat here, want to jump into the coaching search that's going around the NBA. This probably will be a very heavy NBA episode, mainly because other than really hockey and baseball that goes on forever, it's the main thing going on right now. Obviously, with the finals going on, yes, the Stanley Cup finals are going on, but hockey not being as big as the NBA. But I do want to just kind of pick your brain there for a second with the hockey. But first off, the Pistons job, it looks like it may end up being Dwayne Casey's job.
That's what I'm saying.
To lose. He's one of the 3 finalists, but I don't want to dive down too far of that rabbit hole. I want to go down a different rabbit hole.
Okay.
The rabbit hole I want to go down is the John Beilein rabbit hole.
Okay.
Now, your first thoughts when you saw that pop up, I don't remember who first reported it. It was probably Woj in one of his Woj bombs. But what were your first thoughts when you saw that he was even a candidate and apparently interviewing with the Pistons for their head coaching vacancy. I believe he's like 65 years old.
Now, let me get this straight. You are talking about John, right? Not Dwayne?
Yes, John Beilein.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
No, Dwayne Casey, I feel, will probably end up being the pick.
Yeah.
And if he has success there in Detroit, no one would obviously be surprised. He had success in Toronto.
Right.
I just don't know that the pieces were quite there. But
yeah.
John Beilein, it's a name that you don't really hear a lot, right?
No, not really.
It's one when it comes tournament time, he's there, and people realize how good of a coach he is at Michigan. But it's something that you don't really think of coming to the NBA, right? You know, obviously a guy like John Calipari, his name is always connected to the NBA. And then these up-and-coming coaches, you know, get their names connected a lot to different NBA jobs. I'm trying to think. There was one that was connected to the Magic. It was a name I couldn't believe was connected there. But for the life of me, I can't remember it is the problem. Oh, well. If we sit here and think about it, it'll be dead air, and that's just not good.
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about, and I can see his face, but I can't think of his name.
The problem is I keep wanting to say Rick Pitino, but I know that's not it.
No. I don't think so. Oh, wow. Rip the dream, dude. I don't know.
Well, anyway.
So after walking on that dead cloud.
Anyways, back to the John Beilein portion of things. Were you surprised to see his name with the Pistons? Or is it something you thought, well, he's at University of Michigan. The Pistons are obviously there in Detroit, Michigan. You know, that might work together. Your initial thoughts there on seeing that pop out?
Well, besides it being in the same place, he was just in the
NCAA championship.
There you go. I couldn't think of the name for some odd reason. I'm still rusty. Give me a second. Anyways, even though he lost, he's still a great coach. And I feel like the Pistons, they aren't really that good besides, Blake Griffin and, is it DeAndre Jordan? No, that's the guy off the
Andre
Clippers.
Drummond.
Yeah, there you go. I get those two mixed up all the time.
Isn't that it?
Yes, it's Andre Drummond. Anyways, Pistons aren't really that big. I feel like Michigan is Michigan is bigger than the Pistons. So, with John being a candidate for the Pistons, I feel that maybe they thought because, one, same place, but two, because he's played with a lot of younger guys. He's helped a lot of younger guys get into the NBA. If he can do that, he can bring out the Pistons from nothing. Maybe that's what their thought process was.
Well, I think the other, and you say that, I think the other thought process there too, and see what you think of this one, is maybe that when you think of Beilein, you don't think of a guy who's screaming his head off, right? When you think of Rick Pitino coaching, when you think of John Calipari coaching, just a couple, you see them yelling, right, constantly. Neither of which worked out in the NBA.
Right. John's a very calm coach.
Yeah, and that John Beilein. Clear.
Right.
Well, I just want to be clear since I just mentioned Coach Cal.
Yeah.
But John Beilein is seen as one of those cerebral coaches, right? And that's also what Brad Stevens is seen as being, a cerebral coach. And we see how much success Brad Stevens has had in the NBA. So the thing I can think of is Michigan, guy here not in Detroit, obviously, he's in Ann Arbor. But from the state of Michigan to coach the Pistons, he's a cerebral coach, so this could mesh well with Blake Griffin, with Andre Drummond. He's not going to be a guy who's going to come in and be yelling all the time.
Well, you said something about Brad Stevens, and like you said, they could have even looked at him and be like, well, he's turned out pretty good. We might as well at least throw John Beilein, just to be clear, throw his name in with the others. So, I think they made a well decision to make him a candidate, but I think it all worked out in his favor as well. Don't forget.
It just, I mean, I think it is one of those cerebral things, right? Because we've seen people like, you don't really see Steve Kerr, right, standing up and yelling.
No, instead he sits back and puts his arms behind his assistant coaches.
Well, he does do that, and that's probably partly because of the team that he has. But at the same time, he's more of that cerebral coach, and we see that seems to work better in the NBA. Now, that's not to say you can't yell at all, right? You look at Greg Popovich, thought to be, one of the best coaches, if not the best coach of all time. He yells every now and then, right?
Yeah,
but you can't constantly be yelling at someone.
Well, one, because of age, and two, because, well, that's just sort of common sense, really.
But, some of the other candidates that had been mentioned were like Kenny Smith. He's on, TNT's pregame show and halftime show thing there with.
Why him?
He was mentioned with the Pistons. Juwan Howard, who's an assistant coach for the Miami Heat, he was mentioned. Some of these other names that aren't really coming out, but it's looking like it's coming down to probably being Dwayne Casey seems to be the front runner in them all of all the coaches there. But the other thing is, do you think Beilein ever actually had interest in this job? Or was he just kind of using this to gain himself more money and maybe an extension there at Michigan? And I only say that because he did, right, recently after it came out that he's staying at Michigan, he got an extension.
I think you had both those options together. I think he did them both at the same time. He saw the coaching job that the Pistons gave him, and he said, as long as I get more money than I do at Michigan now, fine, I'll take it. But he also used the same problem for Michigan.
By the way.
Okay.
Quick detour.
Yep.
Different rabbit hole.
Okay.
I figured out who that coach was for the Magic. It was Tom Izzo.
Are you serious?
From Michigan State, yes. Which he in himself, right, is older as well.
Yes, he is.
But anyways, back to what you were just talking about. Now that we took that little detour, and we're going to come back right on
it's
here.
It's all good. I was about to end it anyways.
But yeah, I think it was somewhat of, I haven't done this in my career.
Well, he used both options to his advantage. Which, smart man, by the way.
Well, and I agree with you. Yeah, smart in that you see what the Pistons have to offer you, right? You've never you haven't coached in the NBA, so what's there kind of to lose for me? What's really there for me to lose to explore it if nothing else? So I think it was kind of one of those things. Well, I might want to. Obviously, it looks like he's going to finish his career at Michigan, but why not give me a little extra extension on my contract, maybe a little extra money, and maybe if not, I'll just go to the Pistons, and I'll go to the NBA. So who knows? But John Beilein, he did issue a statement via Twitter earlier today, and he said, "I love the University of Michigan, and I'm excited about coaching our men's basketball team next season and in the years to come. Let's go hang some more banners at," and this is in quotes here of his quote, "the greatest university in the world. Hashtag go blue," which I think the greatest university in the world might be a little bit of a stretch there.
A little bit.
But
just a little bit.
He had a contract extension which will raise his salary closer to the $4 million per season mark. So he was, I think, at like 3.6 or something like that. So he got a little bit of a boost. So, all in all for him, he gets a little boost for Michigan. maybe floats his name that he is possibly interested in a future NBA job. You never know. But it was just interesting to see that I had that, that that popped up on my phone, but I just lost my train of thought for a second.
No.
I know. The other thing, it seemed like Adrian Wojnarowski was extremely busy today because he dropped like Woj bomb after Woj bomb. And one of them was talking about that the Spurs are not taking Kawhi trade offers, right? Or won't field them. And I think the implication as well was yet, right? Right now they're not going to field anything, which why should they? Because they're not allowed to right now. But the way it kind of made it sound is that they wouldn't at all, and I don't know how long that will last. What are your thoughts here on this entire situation here with the Kawhi Leonard issue? Do you think he ends up getting traded? Do the Spurs try to hang on to him and then maybe lose him in free agency? Or they try to lock him up long term?
I think what's going to happen is they're going to use him for a great asset and use him as a boost for their team. As much as that seems like a really bad guy way, that's probably what's going to happen. As you said, yet, we'll see. It could happen in the off-season. It could happen next month. You really never know, which could be the off-season. I don't know.
Well, and to me, when I saw the original thing about they're not taking offers for him, to me, myself, I went, yet? Like,
right.
You're not going to take offers till maybe you get the right offer.
Right. Well, I mean, he wasn't able to play in the playoffs. I mean, he's really nothing to you right now. There's no value in him for you. Maybe next season, but even then,
well, I mean,
there's just nothing for you.
The value that he is to you is, right now, would kind of be trade bait. But at the same time, like if he comes back and he's healthy, we know how good Kawhi Leonard can be on both sides of the basketball. Right. Both sides of the court, I should say.
Well, that's like coming up with a cure for something and being like, I can't use it. I don't have the equipment, but I'll sell it to you. You just got to give me a bunch of money.
Well, and I mean, the thought is that he will be healthy. And if you remember, there was kind of some questioning of was he actually healthy enough during the playoff run. So, that in and of itself could be another thing. But while we're on the trade talk, another one that came out today was that no one apparently on the Raptors is untouchable.
Which is really surprising to me.
It is surprising to me, but at the same time, it's not.
Right. Well, I can understand where you're coming from.
Like, I think it's surprising that maybe Kyle Lowry isn't untouchable, and maybe he is, but word on the street, so to speak, is that no one there is untouchable. That means DeMar DeRozan, DeMar DeRozan. I don't know where that came from.
No, it's DeRozan.
Is it DeRozan?
Yeah.
I thought it was DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah. No. No.
Are you sure about that?
Yes. You know what? I'm going to look it up. This is how... No. I'm going to get to it before you two. DeMar DeRozan. Yes, DeMar DeRozan. Nerd. Got you now. I got you. Why do you think... Like, are you thinking like Trevor Ariza? Is that why you think that? Like, are you like...
Think what?
You kept saying DeMar DeRozan, Aria.
I don't know. It just when it came out DeMar DeRozan, it just sounded
wrong
in my mind.
That's reasonable. I will say one guy that
I think because the way you spell his last name, right? DeRozan. I guess I was just leaving the N off. I don't know. Anyways,
makes sense.
DeMar DeRozan.
Anyways, I don't know how you say his name, Volusianes or whatever. You like the center?
Oh, Valanciunas.
Yeah, I'm
You also have Serge Ibaka there, right?
Right, I butchered all of those. If I had to be surprised with anybody being untouchable, it'd be DeMar DeRozan. I feel like he's kind of the
Really?
main...
You think him over Kyle Lowry when he played awful in the playoffs against the Cavs?
Against the Cavs, yeah. But, I mean, look, who do they face the first round?
Washington.
Washington. Dude, granted, Washington kind of sucks, but still, DeMar killed Washington. I mean, granted,
but the problem is he crapped the bed against the Cavs.
I get that.
And it's not like he was matching up directly with LeBron.
Which is why he's probably untouchable right now. If he probably would have done way better in that series, guess what? He probably would not be untouchable right now. But no, now he is. Question is who could they trade for? Now, I pulled up the trades for the trades for DeMar DeRozan. Let me see. Let me get him real quick because I kind of lost him. Dang nabbit. Oh, here we go. All right. So potential trades for DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry. If it will load. There we go. Come on.
Really? You tell me you have this?
Yep.
You don't even have it pulled up?
Look, man. You got that McDonald's Wi-Fi, okay? McDonald's.
Don't blame this on my Wi-Fi.
I'm just saying, bro. All right, so 1 of 5. This is the first one. This is from the New York Knicks. New York Knicks get DeMar DeRozan. Toronto Raptors get Joakim Noah, Ron Baker, Frank. I can't even pronounce his name. Oh my gosh, yo, you gotta look his name up. Look up Frank, right? Frank, Ntillikina. What? I mean, like, I'm probably going to butcher this, but I'm going to say Ntillikina. I probably butchered that. Anyways, everybody on that trade right there, like, there's nobody that I know besides Joakim Noah. Ron Baker, I've heard of him.
Yeah, but Joakim Noah's trash. Like,
yeah,
that's
I know,
a salary.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a salary dump there, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is a really bad trade for DeMar. Yeah, I mean 3 players for 1, but still, that's not.
Well, the thing I think we have to also realize when it comes to like those trade possibilities, a lot of it's thrown in not only for talent, but also money. Right,
yeah,
it has to kind of match up or be close.
Right, that makes sense. So, next one, 2 out of 5, is Centennial.
Centennial?
San Antonio. Oh, my God.
You sure it's not Centennial?
Shut up.
See, now I got you. Centennial!
I told you, I'm a little rusty. Anyways, Santonio. I did it again. San Antonio Spurs get Kyle Lowry. Toronto Raptors get Paul Gasol, Patty Mills, DeJounte Murray. I almost said Murray just because of the way his first name was spelled. Now, this one I could see being reasonable. Patty Mills is pretty good on the Spurs. I don't know if you watched him play or not, but
well, Murray is a heck of a defensive player, I believe, and had kind of come on there toward the end of the season, if nothing else, for the Spurs. And, so like in that instance, Centennial there, they
I almost called you out on it too. I was like, really, dude? Really? Come on now.
All right, so Centennial there.
Oh my god.
You're not gonna live that one down. By
no,
the way.
I'm really not.
They get a guard there, and Kyle Lowry. You couple him with having a guy like Kawhi Leonard and LaMarcus Aldridge, like, okay, the Spurs seem to be getting their groove back. It feels like you're giving up an aging Pau Gasol, Patty Mills, who is a good, not great player, but,
Well, I mean, didn't Ginobili just retire? Ginobili, sorry.
Did he? I didn't think he officially retired, though.
Either way, he's getting old. Granted, he's the greatest player. Not the greatest player, but he's a great player. I love watching him play. But Kyle is going to be a replacement for either Tony or Ginobili. Probably more of Tony, but either way. The next one we got is the Timberwolves, which I was kind of interested in this one. Then I saw what happened, and I didn't really agree with it. So the Minnesota Timberwolves get DeMar DeRozan. Toronto Raptors get Andrew Wiggins. Now, Andrew's good, but he is not no DeMar DeRozan. Come on now. Now, money-wise, maybe the same, but there's no way, talent-wise, that Andrew Wiggins is the same as DeMar DeRozan. No way. There is no way, dude. Now, you might have a different opinion on this. I can't stand Andrew Wiggins.
Well, the thing for Andrew Wiggins is some believe he still has some untapped potential, right? He's a Toronto native, so maybe going back there, he might be able to tap into that potential, right? Being 5 years younger than DeMar DeRozan, that's a lot of difference there when it comes to untapped potential, right? And possibility. So the Raptors would be making this on projection, right, of what Andrew Wiggins could become.
That's a possibility. I didn't think of how age could be effective as well. Which I thought Andrew Wiggins was older. That or DeMar's really old. Either way, the next one's Miami Heat. The Miami Heat get Kyle, and Toronto Raptors get. Hopefully, I don't butcher this.
That's Gordon Dragic.
Yeah, and then you got
Kelly Olynyk.
Oh, thank you. I'm not even gonna pronounce the names. I'm just gonna point at you and you just say the names. Anyways, Gordon, I think that's a great. I think he's a great player. Isn't he the new rookie? No. Didn't they get a rookie that was no? That's the Bulls I'm thinking of. Oh wow. Wow, that was bad. That was a mess up. My bad. I kept thinking of the Bulls for some reason. That's you know what I'm talking about, right? What's his name? Either way, he's a rookie on the Bulls and he's done really well this year. Anyways, what do you think about this one? I don't see Goran being. I could see them having the talent, but I don't know. I guess I put Kyle and DeMar at a really high level. I don't know. I could be wrong. What do you think?
The thing here, I think Kelly Olynyk's involved once again for that money aspect. They're of similar ages, meaning Kyle Lowry and Gordon Dragic. Lowry's got a defensive mind. It would fit well kind of there with the Heat.
Well, Dwayne Wade's there too. I forgot.
Right. Well, yes, he could retire, but who knows? So it's one of those things where you could pair Kyle Lowry up with Josh Richardson, and I think Dion Waiters is there, but that may be some of the other ones that the Raptors could include also, though, in place of Olynyk. So I don't know. You put Hassan Whiteside, though, with Kyle Lowry. Maybe that makes Hassan Whiteside a little happier. You have a young player in a Bam Adebayo down there. There's a lot of possibility there in Miami. I don't know that really fits. I don't know. I just don't. Honestly, the Kyle Lowry one to San Antonio is the one I feel could happen.
That is true. I'm just saying LeBron to the Heat next year. Confirmed. Just saying. I mean, I know that was kind of out of nowhere, but come on now. Come on. Look, bro. The three. Back at it again. Right? Is Chris Bosh still there?
No, he had to retire due to medical issues.
Oh, yeah. Man, has it been that long? Gosh.
Well, he's wanting to possibly make a comeback, but anyways.
Man, I miss Bosh. Anyways, could be Kyle, Dwayne, and LeBron. I'm just saying. Either way, let's get back on track. Just because I can't drive a train worth of trash. Anyways, the next one we have is the Charlotte Hornets. Now, this one I could see being the most possible trade. Just because I kind of agree with it, and Charlotte gets great players. You got Charlotte Hornets get DeMar DeRozan and Jonas. Valanciunas. Man, I gotta say his name right. And then Toronto Raptors get Nicholas Batum. Oh my gosh, yo, just name them off. Just no.
Nicholas Batum, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, and Malik Monk.
Now, why is it all like nothing ever comes out in my favor when saying words? Nothing. Like it could be spot on.
Is that like Santenio?
I'm gonna throw something at you. Either way, I see this being the most possible trade. I mean, you get a great center, and you get a great shooting guard. I mean, granted, you lose Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, but I mean,
but see, you don't. When you lose Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, what you're really losing there is more of a slasher defensive guy. He's not a 3-and-D guy because he can't shoot for he's terrible at shooting.
Yes, he is.
And I don't know what new shot he's been working on, but it's worse than when he was at Kentucky. And that's kind of saying something because, when he's taken second in the draft, the thought is he'll get better at shooting at some point. And that just hasn't panned out.
Right. Well, like you said,
he's
definitely more of a defensive player.
He is. He's more of that defensive slasher guy. And him himself, I wouldn't be surprised to see get traded sometime. Maybe not in this specific one, but there's a lot of money tied up in him. But the one that honestly kind of interests me is Malik Monk.
I figured you'd say something about that.
Well, this is my only thing because he was a rookie this year, kind of struggled, seemed to somewhat hit it maybe a little bit better late, but I think this is in return for DeRozan, you give a little untapped potential, obviously, with him just being a rookie this year. A guy who showed in college he could score. He scored, 47, I think it was, against North Carolina when the two teams played in Vegas. When he was at Kentucky, and so that scoring potential is there. He's athletic, and so once again, kind of with that Wiggins thing, you think there's untapped potential, but here you don't know as much with Malik Monk. But maybe for we see with some guys like a Victor Oladipo, that change of scenery helps. So could be like Malik Monk would take off here, going to Toronto, maybe being more involved and required to kind of being more involved. But it will be interesting. I do like that one Kyle Lowry to San Antonio. I think that would be a nice fit, especially if you can keep Kawhi there. And that I think would work well alongside with LaMarcus Aldridge. You give a couple guys in Lowry and Kawhi that can score. Both can play defense, right? And then you have Aldridge in the middle who can also do the same thing. But I did find it interesting that no one, that no one's untouchable. And honestly, probably nothing will come of this. We're probably wasting our breath.
True.
But at the same time, maybe Toronto's ready to blow this whole thing up and start over.
Now, let me get one real quick thought question on there. Which one out of all 5 of these trades do you think is the most possible?
The most possible?
Yes.
The one that could... okay. The one...
I would have to say the Charlotte Hornets.
See, I say the Hornets. I also kind of lean Spurs because I feel like they might want to try to do something to keep Kawhi happy. But I think it might be the Knicks.
What? I think that
you get a guy like DeRozan to help you out, to get you some points. You know, the Knicks almost traded for Kyle Lowry a couple 3 years ago, and then the owner James Dolan gets cold feet and backed out of it. So, you know, DeRozan, he's theoretically, I guess, in his prime right now. He's 28, somewhere around there, and you know, he's younger than Kyle Lowry is, so that's a better option. If you get Porzingis back, you know, you put both of them together on the Knicks, and you know, you could have a nice mix there. You know, DeRozan he's coming off a career year, although he, you know, crapped his pants in the playoffs. He still had a really good season up to then. So, you know, for the Knicks, you get a really good player. You get rid of some of this money in Joakim Noah and Ron Baker and all, you know. You get rid of that money off your books and swap it down. That, you know, Joakim Noah thing was a terrible decision when they made it. And that's why I think the Knicks might be the most possible, because it's the Knicks. Like, they're willing to do just about anything, right?
I mean, it is a possibility that they could get both as well. I don't think they would get Jonas, but I would think they would at least get one of the two guards. It should be exciting because I'm interested in seeing where they go. Because every time I think of DeMar DeRozan, I think of Toronto, or you know, every time I think Kyle, I always just think Toronto. They've been there for so long that that's all I ever think of is just Toronto if I ever hear their names. So we'll see what happens. I think this offseason is going to be really exciting trade wise.
I was paying attention to you. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I seriously was, because I was trying to figure out where the Knicks were picking in the draft, and they have the 9th pick. That's why I was trying to look, because right now the projection for the Knicks, like if you go by some mock drafts, usually Trae Young's in that slot. So if you had a point guard scorer like that in Trae Young, couple him with DeMar DeRozan. Ooh. If you get Porzingis back, right, this rebuild kind of seems to accelerate there.
Ooh, could the Knicks be good again?
Like you gotta kind of, you know, I think take all those looks at it and feel that might be the most possible trade.
I would agree, definitely.
But other free agency news, and obviously once the season ends, we'll get maybe a little heavier into this. But it comes out that the Rockets apparently are highly interested in PG.
No.
So, hang on. Calm yourself there.
Just saying.
My question is here, the Rockets may be interested.
Give us James Harden.
Do what?
I said give us James Harden.
Well, there's no trade here, though. Paul George is a free agent.
Yeah, that's what sucks about
it. And so, you know, OKC knew that going in, obviously, and they're going to try to re-sign him. But the thing is, we kind of saw how it worked with a guy who likes to dominate the ball in Russ. If you put him with a guy like James Harden that also likes to dominate the ball, and if you can also get Chris Paul back, which, by the way, I think a healthy Chris Paul, and they beat the Warriors easily. Not necessarily easy, but they definitely beat them, because they went 0 for 27 on threes and still almost beat the Warriors. So, but if you put Chris Paul, James Harden, and Paul George together, is there enough dribbling to go around between those three, right? Would it work out, or is it kind of be a situation like OKC where he didn't look like the same player that he did in Indiana?
Well, look, I'm gonna say great joke with the whole dribbling thing. That was spot on. My problem is they're all ball dominant. Chris Paul, I mean, he's Chris Paul. I mean, come on, he's a point guard. He's a great point guard. He's a really great one. I think I wouldn't say he's the best one that I've ever seen, but still.
I mean, I also feel Chris Paul's slightly overrated, but...
Yeah, I would agree. I kind of feel the same way with James Harden. I mean, they put him at such a high level. I mean, yeah, he's been in Houston a lot. I mean, for a while now. I think with PG being there, they're all just so ball dominant. I feel like it's going to be another OKC problem once again. But here's the thing: is if OKC can re-sign Paul George, I think if you give them another year, they will get comfortable with, one, Carmelo if he doesn't get traded, two, Paul George and Russ being together, with Russ not having people.
If Russ doesn't get traded,
don't say that now. Don't say that. I love Russ.
But see, here's part of the reason I say that though. You look, maybe because I'm being a buzzkill. But anyways, you look at a guy like Blake Griffin, right, who you thought was untouchable for the Clippers after getting that new deal, and they said, "Thanks for playing with us. You're on to Detroit." You know, like, OKC could say, "Thanks for us, but you're more of a headache than you're worth." You know, it's hard to get other players to play with you, so you're going here.
See, I'm trying not to let my pride of OKC get in the way of really what the truth and the facts are. I think the only problem is Russ was there for so long without anybody on his team. Steven Adams, if anything. He really had nobody. After KD left, he was gone. He was by himself for 1 or 2 years. I can't remember. But, I mean, he had to get used to getting 50 points a game to get the dub. Now, I'm not saying,
really, you have to get used to that?
I mean, come on now. It's like a whole nother version of LeBron James. But then again, Russ is not LeBron. I'm just saying. It's like another case of LeBron. Now, will he get traded? It's a possibility. I don't think he will. But I think if Paul George comes back, they might actually get in the groove this year, depending on if Carmelo, again, gets traded. They just need to find their groove. They didn't have enough time to find their groove. So, to be honest with you, this whole Chris Paul, James Harden, Paul George trade is really interesting to me. Just saying.
Not a trade.
What? You know what I meant? I'm talking about the Houston Rockets now.
I know, but see, here's my thing.
Okay.
You look at the offensive setting that D'Antonio has there in Houston, right? We saw it exhibited in the Western Conference Finals, where you dribble the ball a bunch and you shoot. That's the offense. Don't you think Paul George would be highly interested in that type of offense?
Yeah, I'm just saying that's the problem, though, is they're so ball dominant that they're not going to have enough time for dribbles.
But see, here's at the same time, though. When you're in that type of offense, one time Chris Paul is bringing the ball down the court, the next time Paul George is, the next time James Harden is. When you're in OKC, it's pretty much Russ, you bring the ball down the court for us. There with Houston, James Harden does drive occasionally.
Yeah.
And he could kick it out to a guy like Paul George who's waiting to shoot, and maybe it's the case of having more opportunities would lead to him getting more him getting to closer to the Paul George who was in Indiana for the Pacers, right? The Paul George who's dominating the scorecard and all that. At the same time, I think the Rockets are trying to make a push because they know they were right there, right? They almost knocked off the Warriors without Chris Paul and missing 27 three-pointers. You go 5 of 27, that's 15 extra points. You probably could beat the Warriors in, but you go 0 for 27, it's a little difficult.
Right.
But at the same time, you look at that, over 27 there toward the end on threes. Paul George, I bet, would like to jack up those threes in that offense. So that might entice him there. I also think, though, that if I'm looking at where Paul George goes, my pick is L.A. To the Lakers. He's from California, right? From that area. They have the money to bring in him, and they can arrange it to bring in another max player, whether that's a DeMarcus Cousins, a LeBron James.
No, which LA are you talking about?
The Lakers.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's two LAs. There's Clippers, and then
I said the Lakers.
Oh, well, no, you said LA.
I said LA, and then I said the Lakers, and then you just
rewind.
said
Rewind.
No. Then you just said which LA you talking about. I said the Lakers, and then you said, yeah, but which LA you talking about?
Guys, you're gonna have to rewind this back. This dude's a liar. I'm just kidding. I'm telling you, you're wrong. You're wrong.
I'm not. I said the Lakers. I said LA originally. I never said the Clippers.
I'm just saying there's two LAs.
I know that. That's why then I clarified the Lakers. And besides, if anybody's paying attention to any of this, they know it's the Lakers.
Oh, it was just more of a confirmation. But yes.
I'm going to throw stuff at you.
See, that's the whole point. Is to get you in your veins. Anyways, I like where you're going. But here's the thing, bub. Paul George has been at the Pacers, which have been trash, since Victor came. He went to OKC. They were just a hot fire of trash. This whole trade.
Do you like trash?
Oh, trash is my life, dude. Anyways, if he goes to the Rockets, one, he has a huge chance of getting a ring. He's Paul George. I don't know about you, but every time I look at him, he's the guy of, I want to get a ring. I don't care where I'm at. I want to get a ring. And I get it. That could be everybody's thought process. But, I mean, you can literally see it, how he acts, the way he looks. You can tell he wants a ring no matter where he is. So, as long as the Houston Rockets give him enough money to the point of where he's like, okay, I'll take it, that team is going to be deadly. But it may also backfire like it did in OKC. So, there's always two sides to that coin. I'm interested in seeing if he will go there. I honestly think it's a huge possibility. But if he's the guy that I say he is, right, why would he want to go to LA? Like, I mean, besides LeBron maybe leaving this year, why would he want to go to the Lakers?
I mean, he's from that area. Like, he grew up in that area.
That's reasonable.
Yeah, but see, here's what you're also not factoring in.
Okay.
Endorsements.
That is true. That is true.
Bigger market than OKC. Even a bigger market than Houston. The endorsements off the court that you can make there also, I think, would play a huge factor, and I think for a lot of players it does.
Well, it really depends on how much he's either focused on a ring or he's focused on money. If he wants money, go to LA. You're still gonna get money no matter where you go. You're Paul George, PG-13. If you go to LA, you're gonna get a whole lot of money. So much money. But if you go to Houston, there's a huge possibility you're gonna get that ring and money. So it really depends on where his mindset is.
Well, the thing with the Lakers, though, is you have to remember that they do have young talent there.
They do. I mean,
you have Lonzo Ball,
right,
who is not a score-first point guard, right?
No, but I think he's pretty good.
He is, but I'm saying, like, he can score, but he's not he's not a Steph Curry type.
Yeah.
Right, where Steph, yes, he passes it, but he's more score first. John Wall is a slasher, passer kind of player. But Lonzo Ball, right, we know his funky shot and that.
I think Lonzo's more of a play kind of guy.
He's a playmaker.
Yes, he is. And I think he's a good one too. I don't know. I mean, it really depends on what kind of assets you got. I forgot there's a couple of guys that are still there. Is it Kuzma? Kyle Kuzma?
Yeah, Kuzma's still there.
Kuzma's still there.
I mean,
he's a great trade
they
asset.
could re-sign IT.
Yeah, but bro,
they can re-sign Julius Randle if they want. I think one of the Lopez brothers is there.
I think Drew Lopez,
Robin Lopez. I think is there.
I'm not even.
I don't know. Anyways, but it was just interesting because obviously you see LeBron James to Houston, and now PG-13 to Houston may be another possibility. But on that LeBron James to Houston train here, and watch this segue. You ready for this?
Ooh, I'm ready.
The odds-on favorite for LeBron James' services, right, recently changed in a few books out in Vegas to be the Houston Rockets. Do you know who was the odds-on favorite before the Houston Rockets? Just about a week or so ago.
I have no clue.
I think you can do this. If you just trust in the process of your mind, you can figure this one out.
Let me guess. Memphis Grizzlies.
Oh, so close.
Dagnab.
It was the Philadelphia 76ers, right?
I hope y'all got that as a joke. I'm not that
no
dumb,
kidding.
Honestly.
So, up until maybe today, yesterday, whenever the books changed, the 76ers were the odds-on favorite. Now, what changed this is this whole situation with Brian Colangelo and these burner Twitter accounts. By the way, see that transition there?
I like it.
Look at that flow right there.
Yeah,
and
good.
So you didn't have a chance to say anything on this.
No.
I talked about it last week. Comes out and it's found. The Ringer had the story that these 5 Twitter accounts that all were bashing the 76ers players, talking about their health, right? Talked about Nerlens Noel, a former 76ers player. Excuse me. Talked about other league like GMs and that. And they notice, right, these all have like the same friends. They're all egg accounts. They're all burner accounts. All these similarities matched up, and it started to be linked to him. Well, then it went to maybe his son. Well, then it went to looking like it's his wife's. Now, he said one of the accounts is his, right? But he uses it to just kind of check in on things without using like his official Twitter account. But your thoughts here, because Philadelphia said they had looked into it, believed him in that these other burner Twitter accounts were not his. But they also didn't say if his job was safe. So, first off, do you have any thoughts here on this situation here with the Twitter accounts? And do you think he should be fired possibly?
It really depends on how you look at it. These burner accounts, what do they do for you? I mean, like I've heard of them before, but
if you remember, KD had
that fake
Twitter
account.
Fake That's what they're a fake Twitter account. They're called burner accounts.
Gotcha.
Because then you can put information out there that's not yours. Like they're putting like kind of injury information out, so to speak, health information on some of these players, and like trashing the players, which is why their odds slipped in getting LeBron services, because maybe this whole issue, he doesn't want to go there if Brian Colangelo is still there,
Okay.
If these are linked to him.
Right. Now my thoughts on that is, as long as you don't say anything that's rude, cruel, mean, or anything that can affect the organization, which apparently it already has, I feel like you shouldn't be fired. I think he will get fired. I don't think he should be fired as long as he doesn't say anything that compromises the organization or secret information that they don't want released.
Okay, so here's my question.
Okay.
The one account that he did say was his, right, never putting any of this other information out, trashing players and so forth. If these are found to not be his, right, and it's looking a lot like it's his wife's account, by the way people went about and figuring out her phone number having the same last 2 digits as these burner accounts, when you try to, recover them and all that.
Yeah.
What if it's his wife? Should he be fired for his wife's actions?
No. I mean, one, that would probably ruin a good relationship. 2, it's his wife. What? She doesn't have anything to do with the team. I mean, granted, I don't think you should be trashing players. And if she is...
But see, here's the other issue, though.
Okay.
Is it's not just about trashing the players and other executives. It's information that's coming out on these accounts that no one else knew, that only Brian Colangelo would have known. If he tells his wife in secret, so to speak, and then she puts it out on Twitter... Right, does that change your view there? What if he's even feeding her the information?
That sounds like a personal problem with their relationship. I don't think you should be.
But he's leaking information from this organization.
I would agree, but I feel like you should be able to tell your spouse, "Hey, this is what's going on. This is." I mean, even stuff maybe it is on your mind that you can't There's so many possibilities to this situation that I don't want them to jump the horse on this. They need to take the time, look into it. I get it. You don't want him to be there as long if it is that bad. But still, this sounds like a personal relationship problem. If you're telling your wife, hey, look, this is what happened at work, she should be able to just keep it and just conversate with just you about it. I don't know why now... Stopping her, all you can really do is just stop her from creating accounts. Now, granted, I don't know how you would do that, but that's all you can do. You're not going to arrest her wife. You're not going to fire him just because of her.
But, arresting is probably... I don't know that it's really in...
No, well, I'm just saying.
But see, here's the thing. We've seen this before. In the NFL, a player get cut from a team because of things his wife says. If it's found out, even if, for me, if I come in and I tell my wife something and then she puts it out on Twitter, right, in one of her 4 burner accounts apparently, then you would think you should probably not be telling her things, right? Because here's the thing, is that they were releasing, in some of these instances, medical information, right? Medical injury stuff and all that. Stuff that only he would have known. He also trashed the Sam Hinkie who used to do his job, right? Who used to be the president there of the 76ers. So, if in fact it's his wife, I think there is a little bit of a responsibility here, though. And maybe it's going to be hard, though, I think, for him to say, I had no knowledge of this. Yes, I told my wife this stuff, but at the same time, some of this stuff is probably information that you probably shouldn't be discussing with your wife. Unless you want her to put it out there for you on a burner account.
Like I said, there's so many possibilities to this, and there's so many outcomes to this situation that if we stood here and discussed it for about an hour, we would probably come out with all the outcomes and all the possibilities. All I can say is you should be able to tell your wife something, even if it's keep it in your mind, nobody else can know. You should be able to just tell your wife without her being like...
Well, and that's the thing. It's fine if you just go, hey, you can't repeat this. Yeah. But as soon as, if you've never figured out that your wife has 4 burner Twitter accounts, You know, like, that to me, like...
Well, that also comes down again to personal relationship. You know, that you need to figure that out. That's his problem, not the NBA's problem to solve. That's their marriage. That's their problem.
But see, here's the thing also for me, though, is that, you know, we say in college basketball, right, the coach is responsible for his program, even if it's only the assistants and they had no knowledge, right? Obviously, the most recent case, and probably the one that pops up first, to me, is Rick Pitino, right, at Louisville. 2 issues he says he has no knowledge of, which may be true. We don't know. But it was his assistant coaches, right? And he got fired because he's supposed to be responsible for them. Is he not, Brian Colangelo, supposed to also be responsible for, you know, his household? No, you can't control everything your wife does, obviously. But at some point, wouldn't you think you would find out that this information keeps getting leaked out? And if you go, I wonder who keeps leaking this information out, and you go, okay, who did I tell this to? Like, I don't see the instant if this is connected to his wife, how he didn't know about it. That's my issue with it. How you knew nothing about this when she's getting a lot of personal information, you know, on these players. I think if it's just trashing the players, that's completely different.
Oh, yeah. That's
if it's just trashing, you know, NBA refs, Sam Hinkie, like, that's different. Yeah, if it's just trashing.
Yeah, that's a whole nother scenario.
But when you start doing this medical information and, you know, injury stuff, like, that's when I start going, okay, this seems fishy here, right? This is just odd. And so, to me, that's where the issue lies. And it looks like for now, right, the 76ers believe that he had no knowledge. I don't believe their full investigation has come back, and, you know, maybe the NBA even launches one into this. But I honestly believe if it comes back that his wife is the owner of these 4 burner accounts, he should probably be fired.
Yeah.
Simply because, like, it's hard for me to believe that you don't know anything here. If it was your son, a little easier, right?
Yeah.
A little easier to kind of to get away with it. But being your wife, I just find it harder for him to stay employed there. But let's move on to one other thing real quick before we get into the NBA Finals. It comes out that the NBA is going to test something in the Summer League. And get your thoughts here on a challenge flag. Or a version of it, right? It may be just telling the ref, hey, I want to challenge that play or, you know, whatever. And we don't know the full details because it hasn't all come out. But your quick reaction here to a possible challenge flag being able to be used by the NBA coaches.
I think of in-game. Halftime,
like maybe fourth quarter only, right, or something. Right, second half only.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking second half only. Right. It's 72-73. Somebody takes a shot. It's on the line. Okay, challenge the play. That could change the play of the game.
Well, and if we go to game number 1, right, of the NBA Finals. If Ty Lue has the ability to challenge there, maybe he challenges and says, hey, LeBron was fouled there before trying to pass to George Hill. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what do you, no. I would have challenged the
charge block.
The last possession that Golden State had. I would have challenged when it might have been Draymond. No, I think it was KD. That or Iguodala, either one. Somebody drove, and LeBron was outside of.
Well, I know, but that's what I'm saying. But see, they reviewed that one, and then they said it was a block. So if we go after that, it's hard to review the review.
It was a charge.
Well, I agree. I think it was a charge as well because the NBA rules don't state that you have to be set like in college where you have to be set, right? You just have to be in that guarding position. I think it was a charge. Mm-hmm. But anyways, so you obviously probably wouldn't be able to do that one because the refs reviewed it themselves, right? Because the refs can initiate the review in the last 2 minutes or whatever. But if you go and you go, no, George Hill shouldn't be shooting those free throws. LeBron got fouled back here trying to make that pass, right? He gets held by, I think it was Draymond. Then you go, he gets fouled, like, so maybe you can challenge that. Like, the problem is we don't know the specifics of this.
Yeah, we don't know the full details, which once the full details do come out, I'm really interested in reading them and seeing how they will adapt.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. Do you get one for the game? You know, if your first one, is it like the NFL where you get 2 for the game, right? But if your first one's successful, you don't lose that one.
Or 1 for each half.
Like, well, that's what I'm like. Maybe you get 1 for each half, but if you challenge in the first half and you miss, you don't get the one in the second half.
Right.
You know, if in the NFL, if you throw the challenge flag and you miss on the first one and you're wrong, you lose that challenge.
Yeah.
So then you have 1 left for the game. But if you throw it and you're successful the first time, then you still have 2 left for the rest. You know, like.
Well, in this scenario, there's again plenty of outcomes. I'm kind of interested in seeing which outcome they're thinking of.
And I like the summer league. Yeah, but here's my only problem with it is I don't want it to slow down the game.
Yeah, I would agree. I could see where your problem lies there. I could see that
because I feel like it might. You know.
Yeah. I mean, it happens in the NFL too. Slows down the game.
Well, and that's like you think of how slow end of games are.
Yeah,
30 sometimes in college basketball, right at the end where they're reviewing the time on the clock, or the NBA, and it's like, good grief, I don't need to review to see if if LeBron went back to the locker room to take a leak and how much time he spent it. Like I swear it seems like they review everything. 1/10 of a second needs to be put back on the clock. Nobody cares about 1/10 of a second. Like,
no.
The only time that's going to matter is in the release of someone's shot, and if it's off their fingertips or on their fingertips.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see that they're even flirting with that idea. You know, it could go in summer league and go, this is awful, we can't do this. But they may go, okay, well, we're going to figure out how this is obviously going to work.
I like your word use with the whole flirting thing. I like that. That was a good word for it. And I'm totally with you. I think this is a great thought. Will it end bad? I don't think it will, no matter how the outcome comes. I'm really interested because NBA's been around for years, dude. Nobody's ever thought of a challenge play. Sure, people have, but they've never even tried to implement it.
Well, and I think it's one of those things, like, as review systems evolve, adding this in maybe seems like the next logical step in this process.
This definitely opens up a lot of new doors.
It does, but the problem is it could also open up Pandora's box, and make those games even longer. But lastly here, and I really kind of want to save this to the end because I didn't want it to drag through the whole thing. Game 3 of the finals is on as we're recording this. And, games 1 and 2, game 2 wasn't close at all, really. The Warriors came out and after they won game 1, I thought game 2's not going to go the Cavs' way. And they come out for game 1. Were you shocked at all the way the Cavs kind of came out and like almost won that game and probably should have won that game?
Yes and no. I felt like they had the energy. They were like, we got this. They beat us once, but we're going to come back. We got this. They had that momentum, and I almost said momentum and energy and that drive and that passion to win, and it just kind of spread out everywhere. They literally lost it. Now, I didn't watch a whole lot of Game 2, but I read some things. I saw some reviews and all kinds of stuff. I could tell that LeBron is just tired, man. Like, there's been so many memes and so many videos. He is just exhausted.
Well, and he rightfully should be. Like, when you think of all the games the Cavs have played this season, you know, not necessarily all of them that are possible to be played in a season, but, you know, he has a 7-game series with the Pacers. They sweep the Raptors, have a 7-game series with the Celtics, and now you're facing your most daunting task in the Warriors, you know, and at times you watch, he's guarding KD. KD is not an easy man to guard. You know, he's what, 6'10", 6'11"?
6'9".
KD?
Yeah.
No, look it up.
I'm about to prove it.
You about to be wrong again.
Nope.
Anyways, KD with his length, right, his height, one, because LeBron's like 6'8". KD's got a couple 3 inches on him. He also is able to shoot, right, and release that ball a lot higher than most can get up to guard. By the way, how tall is Kevin Durant?
I don't know. Your McDonald's about 6'9". Swear.
There is no way.
6'9", dude. Boom!
I think you just looked up crap.
Oh,
dude, look at him next to LeBron. He is not just an inch taller.
You know what? About to look up LeBron's height. Hold on. LeBron James height. 6'8".
You're telling me there's only an inch difference between him and Kevin Durant?
I mean, if Google's wrong.
But you're also depending on Wikipedia to be right.
Oh, my gosh.
Because you know that's where that's pulling from.
I'm not going to go up to LeBron. Hey, dude, can I message you real quick? Hold up, huh? Oh, yep, 6'8". Oh, hey, KD, come here. Here, Snake, come here. Come here. And, oh, he's 6'9". Oh, my gosh, you're an inch taller than LeBron. No. And yeah, heck yeah, I'm relying on this. I don't know how tall LeBron or KD is. Not until now. I mean, I remember on every game LeBron's been 6'8". KD's either been 6'9" or 6'10". Either way. Boom.
Then why does everybody always say you're talking about a guy who's 6'11", 7 foot tall?
I don't know. Maybe
you think they're just making that up?
I don't know. Maybe they're small and they think that he's just a very large man.
He is a large. Have you seen him?
Yeah, I have. He's a very, very tall man. Very tall. I could be wrong. I could be. I wonder if I looked at any of the NBA 2K games, like if they have him at 6'10", 6'11". Bet he's not. I remember going into a Sprint store, and he was sponsoring Sprint, right?
Sprint was sponsoring him.
Yep. Shouts out to Sprint. And they had him at 6'9".
But see, here's the thing. What you're depending on is his listed height.
Yes.
Not his actual height. No. Don't make that weird. Look. If you are 5'11", right? But in shoes you are 6'1", what you gonna list at? 5'11" or 6'1"?
5'11".
You were not gonna list at 5'11". You're gonna list at 6'1".
Now, I will agree. Shoes probably do give him a couple inches.
But here's what I'm saying. If you're shorter, you want the taller height. But if you're taller, you may want to seem like you're smaller to others, right? And your official listed height may be 6'9". Once you strap them shoes on, you're almost 7 foot tall. My point is, KD's release point, when he shoots, LeBron is having to exert so much energy guarding him.
Oh, yeah. I've seen
that it's making him tired.
I've seen it. But anyway, back from the whole height problem thing. Did you see the last play of Game 1?
Yeah, by the way, JR, I don't think knew what was going on.
JR just needs to leave. He needs to retire.
But see, here's my other thing. Have you seen the video with LeBron asking saying we didn't have any timeouts, right?
Yeah, dude, he was
here's the other thing. Why didn't the bench call a timeout or LeBron call a timeout if you look at the scoreboard and see that you have a timeout left, right?
Well, I mean, because he's focused on trying to win with 4.7 seconds.
But if he's supposed to be this freaking cerebral player, why is he not calling the timeout? Why is he depending on J.R. freaking Smith to call that timeout?
He should not focus. He should not focus on that. He should focus on Ty Lue. Ty Lue is the worst coach I've ever seen.
Dude, you are so wrong.
What? Ty Lue isn't doing nothing.
Really?
He could have called the timeout. He could have called the timeout.
Ty Lue is doing nothing. That's why he's playing a bunch of older players, realizing that they have the better chance to win with a guy like George Hill over Jordan Clarkson.
I don't know. Which one's worse, Steve Kerr or Ty Lue? Steve Kerr, probably.
No, here's my thing, is they both deserve credit.
Yeah, I know.
Steve Kerr, yes, is loaded with talent, but he also has to get that talent to work together. Ty Lue is a smarter man than most realize. Right, you listen to the commentators, and while I know a guy like Jeff Van Gundy might be a little more biased because, he's kind of like Dick Vitale, I guess, in the sense that he's always got the coach's back. But they're not going to go, oh, man, this guy is so smart when he's dumber than a box of rocks, right? Yeah, they question his calls, and they question everybody's play calls. But Ty Lue doesn't get enough credit because he has LeBron James on his team, right? Because he is coaching LeBron James, just like Eric Spoelstra doesn't get any credit. Brad Stevens is getting the credit because of the team that Boston had, while young, still very talented. But does Brad Stevens get that same credit if he's got Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward all year?
Oh, dude, I would agree. I'm just saying, I think LeBron's got enough on his back. I don't know if you've seen any of his stats. Have you seen any of his stats at all on Instagram or Twitter? He's carrying the team. JR has been trash. Okay? Look, JR, I like JR. I liked him when he was at the Knicks. Once he left the Knicks, he was not the same JR. Probably for maybe a month and a half. But that was it. JR hasn't provided nothing. He lost the game for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, I think it's a loss between LeBron, JR, and Ty Lue. Those three right there lost the game for the Cleveland, if I could speak right. The problem is Ty Lue should have been able to call a timeout. He saw the time. He should have been able to call the timeout. LeBron, he had enough on his plate. He was trying to get the rebound. He's exhausted. He was trying everything he can. He wasn't really focused on the timeout at that point. JR, he's just confused. He ran it out, looked at LeBron. Hey, bro, I don't know what to do with this ball. LeBron points at, I believe, George Hill was, and says, pass it to him. JR turns around, passes to him. Boom, end of time. Game over. That game could have been saved just by a timeout. All because of LJ, JR, and Ty Lue. Now, you might have a different opinion on that. That's just my opinion. I think it all contributed to that loss. They could have done way better.
I mean, the thing for me is, those scoreboards keep track of how many timeouts left. And if you weren't for sure, while George Hill is shooting those free throws, which, mind you, he should have got a third attempt at because Draymond Green stepped into the lane too soon.
Agreed.
Which that challenge play could have come into play there. But, I get it. J.R. Smith, A, he had Kevin Durant pinned under the basket. He should have put it up real quick. B, he should have hit LeBron at the top of the key. But the question, like that whole end of game just kind of drives me nuts. Because it's like, why? Why is that so messed up at that end of the game? Because that was the game that they really needed to kind of flip home court. And that's the problem that the Cavs have. They may win these next two. They may win Game 3 and Game 4 in Cleveland. They still, say if you win all games at home for both teams, guess who still wins that series? The Warriors.
Yeah.
They have home court. So that was your chance, and you blew it. No doubt about that. Yes, I agree. LeBron is getting very little help. And, in tonight's game, I've seen Rodney Hood show up, for the first time, like, all postseason. And, it's one of those things that it just, it's kind of frustrating because you go, hey, why wouldn't you know if you have a timeout or not? If you're Ty Lue or, someone on the bench go, hey, we still have a timeout, call it, But the other thing, J.R. Smith had an easy layup there. Just put it back up real quick. Mm-hmm. Nobody was expecting you to get it. By the way, bad box out by KD. KD should have had that rebound.
Agreed.
Just saying. But it's just, Game 2 wasn't much of a game. And, I saw a stat that actually, and I doubt this really pertains to anything, but when LeBron wears, some version of a suit, they were, 3-7 in the playoffs. And when he doesn't wear the suit, they were 9-1. And so I'm going, LeBron, clearly you don't need to wear a suit to the game, which he did not wear a suit to the game. I'll get it correct there tonight. So it'll be interesting to see. Real quick, back to the Kevin Durant saga here. An article from 2016, mind you, that he is quoted, Kevin Durant is, when he was speaking with Bob Fitzgerald over the age-old question of how tall he really is. 2016, so 2 years ago. Well, not quite 2 years ago, year and a half. He said he was recorded. He said, since I love you guys so much, I was recorded at 6'10"3/4 with no shoes. And he said, with my shoes on, I'm 7 feet. Kevin Durant said that himself. And so they asked why he was still listed at 6'9" for so long, and he said, I just like messing with people. So the only reason I was so argumentative over that is the fact that you look at him staying next to a guy like Giannis, who's like 6'11", and they're, same height, if not KD is a little taller. As we were sitting here recording, I was watching a little bit of the game. Jeff Green almost had a block on KD when he was shooting, but that height, once again, that's where the Warriors have that advantage as a guy like KD. But how do you see the finals overall going?
I still see...
is it a sweep in your mind, or...
No. I see Golden State. I think it's going to go to 6. I think LeBron's going to keep trying his heart out. But I just don't think it will be enough. And I guess what we can look forward to, Dish, is where's LeBron going to go now?
Well, and that will, until he puts it all to rest, right? Obviously, in the summer, that will kind of drive our conversations after this, and it won't be one of those things where we talk about it every episode. Maybe let it, a few things go by, but that is, the question. We've seen this 4 times in a row, right? Cavs Warriors, which is a record in and of itself, which to me is astounding. Everybody's tired of it, but these teams, once again, have made it back to, a place to win a championship 4 straight years.
I'm not impressed with Golden State. I'm impressed with
I'm not
Cavs.
see that's what I'm not impressed with Golden State because you almost got beat by Houston, who didn't have Chris Paul and went 0 of 27 from 3. You know, like
they are literally the dream team, just without like the actual All-Star team. They are literally the dream team.
Well, when you look at a team like Golden State, you have a point guard in Steph Curry who can pass, who can shoot, mind you, making stupid shots in Game 2, right? Like, that's some 2K stuff right there. Making 9 3-pointers, which is an NBA record, and impressive in and of itself. But you have him. You have a shooter who I think doesn't get enough credit in Klay Thompson, who, mind you, himself could be kind of the first of these Warriors to defect and go somewhere else. Draymond Green, who's a hustler, he gets those rebounds for him and just continually keeps him in the game with being the unsung hero. And you have, what some could argue as the best player in the league or second best player in the league in Kevin Durant. Depending on how you look at it, I still would argue it's LeBron all day, but some would say Kevin Durant is because the thing for me is, one's unstoppable and one's almost unbeatable, right? It's hard to beat LeBron, but it's also hard to stop KD because of his height, as we've been arguing back and forth about. That release point, you can stop Steph Curry if you put a taller man on him that can stay with him. But Kevin Durant, you can put a taller man on him, and he could drive by you, and he can still pop over you. That's the issue. I really would love to see the Cavs win it, only really for this factor. A, the Warriors wouldn't win it. But B, then things really get interesting with the LeBron sweepstakes, right? Does he leave Cleveland just after he won him a second title? Or does he stay there just because he won another title? But this game is 1 point apart as we go here, so I think it's best if we wrap this up and go finish watching Game 3 and see who wins this one. Clearly, if Cleveland's not able to win this one, this series is pretty much over. But I think if they can end up winning Game 3 here, obviously you still have a lot, but it could turn into like that Celtics series, where it was 2-0, then it was 2-2, then it was 3, and I could see it literally going like that, and that would mean LeBron would have to go back onto the Warriors' court, which is a tough place to play and win.
It could be a possibility.
But, we could also be sitting here next week and be talking about a sweep of the Cavs. And if so, well, we might just start our Where's LeBron Going train. But with all that being said, if you have made it this long in the podcast, I need you to do me one favor. Because obviously if you've listened this long, there's something there that you like about us talking. So, with that being said, go over to iTunes or wherever you listen, wherever you're listening on. Hit the subscribe button or whatever you have to do to get these automatically as they're so you can have them automatically download for you. But if you're in iTunes, go over to the podcast feed itself and go ahead and write a review. While you're there, hit the 5-star rating. Because it's kind of like when you have a service, like an Uber or something. You want to keep the good karma going, right? So, you want the driver to give you a 5-star as a passenger. You give the driver a 5-star. You just go ahead and give us a 5-star. It's good karma for you, good juju. So, with that being said, you go ahead and do that for us. If you have any questions or anything you want us to answer, anything you see out there that you want to get our thoughts on next week, go ahead and hit us up on Twitter. You can find me at @Dish_RD Sports, and you can find Rylee at Rylee_RD Sports, RYLEE on the Rylee. You can find us on Facebook, the podcast page. If you just you can go to facebook.com/RD Sports Report. Same thing on Twitter for the podcast page at RD Sports Report. You can follow along there. Questions, comments, and you want to make fun of us, whatever, hit us up there at those different handles. And with all that being said, Rylee, once again, nice to have you back this week.
Good to be back.
And that will do it for us on another episode of the R&D Sports Report.